Hey there, I'm Glenda, owner and self-proclaimed help guru from Make It with Glenda. This is my fourth YouTube video, and with each one, I start to become a little more comfortable. So lucky you. You get to see a bit more of my personality in today's video. Welcome to Grief Isn't a Flowchart, the blog post where I'm diving into and pretty much debunking the infamous 5 stages of grief. If any professionals out there, yep, I just air quoted, want to come at me, well, put them up, put them up, put them up. Just playing a little homage to one of my favorite movies of all time there. My name is Glenda after all. That's what I call a squirrel moment. Okay, getting back on track. If you haven't heard of this yet, lucky you. The infamous 5 stages of grief are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Sounds neat, right? Like grief is just a checklist you tick off on your way to emotional enlightenment. Spoiler alert, it most definitely is not. Let me be real with you. I've grieved. I'm still grieving. And if you would have seen me in my meltdown over missing my daughter just last week, you might have questioned my sanity. If you're reading this, chances are you are grieving too. And if you've ever felt like you're doing it wrong because you're not following the textbook stages that everyone who loses someone hears about at some time in their life, let me just say, you're not broken, the stages are. So let's break this down. The 5 stages of grief were introduced by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross in the 1960s. They were originally meant to describe the emotional journey of people facing terminal illness. Did you hear that? Terminal illness. Terminal. Like there is no cure. Advanced cancer, heart failure, organ failure. Not the grieving process of people who have lost their loved ones, their mother, their father, their child. Somewhere along the way, a terminal illness stage pattern got repackaged by physicians as the universal roadmap for grief. Like, congratulations, you've reached stage 3, bargaining. Please proceed to depression. Yeah, no. Let me share with you a little story about how I was introduced to this concept of the 5 stages. As you all know, my daughter died, and a little while after, I was not functioning well. Months after she had passed, I still couldn't get my head straight. I couldn't sleep. 2 hours was an absolute miracle. Eating was null and void one day and overindulgent the next. I didn't know how to, I guess we'll say, regulate everything jumping around in my head. So I thought I needed to see a doctor because something might really be wrong with me. So I go, and the physician I saw has me complete this depression question form. Then she reads this and tells me that it appears I have gotten off track from the 5 stages of grief and that I need help getting back on track. Wait, what? What is this 5 stages of grief you speak of? So she briefly explained them to me. I thought I'd experienced nightmares before. Well, they were about to get worse. I was prescribed antidepressant medication. Anyone who has taken these type of meds knows there is no one med fixes all. You take one med 1 week, it doesn't work, meaning it made me think demons were in the room with me when I woke up in the middle of the night. Then you change to another, and maybe even another and another. 9 months flew by. I'd been on 4 different meds, and I actually laughed at the arsenal of unused medication I had in the cabinet. I was a zombie. I'd gained almost 100 pounds. I was not better. I had not advanced to the next stage in grief. Side note, some depression meds can cause weight gain. If this is a concern of yours and you take these meds, please ask. In my experience, physicians won't bring this up to you all the time. So I tried to get the physician to take me off of the medication, but she said I just needed to give it more time. I actually worked at the clinic where I had been prescribed, and they basically told me that part of returning from my FMLA after my daughter passed was following the advice of the doctor and staying on the medication. So I took matters into my own hands. I sought a second opinion of an outside psychiatrist. The psychiatrist and I talked for about 3 months, and he finally told me that I wasn't depressed. I was, big old spoiler alert here, still grieving. He wasn't used to people seeing him for the purpose of getting off meds, but he weaned me off, and finally I was able to continue grieving, coping, and finding my new normal. It just took time. The physician I had first visited used a piece of paper that I guess detects mental illness to evaluate my current state. So now something originally intended for terminally ill patients is being passed on to people grieving and to mentally ill persons. This physician didn't take into consideration that my daughter had just died weeks before I first saw her, and answering questions like, "Do you have days where you feel down?" were just a new way of life for me. The 5 stages of grief do not happen in stages for people who have suffered a severe loss. These symptoms, I guess that's what we will call them, are just present. So let's break them down. Denial. Sure, maybe. I mean, who wants to actually believe that the child they created and birthed is absolutely and unequivocally gone? It's torture. But sometimes it's not denial, it's shock or numbness or just trying to remember how to breathe while the world keeps spinning like nothing happened. Anger. Oh, hell yeah. But it's not always rage. Sometimes it's irritation at people for saying really inappropriate things, like everything happens for a reason, or it was just their time. Sometimes it's anger at yourself for not doing more. Sometimes it's just being pissed off that the person you love, for me, the most important female in my world, is gone and the universe doesn't seem to care. Bargaining. That one's weird. It's not always, "God, if you bring them back, I'll be a better person." Although this can be at something, sometimes. Sometimes it's replaying every moment, wondering what you could have done differently, bargaining with memories, bargaining with guilt, saying to yourself, "If I'd only done this, maybe they'd still be here." Depression? That's a heavy word. And yeah, grief can feel like depression, but it can also feel like emptiness or exhaustion. Or laughing at a stupid meme and then crying 5 seconds later because you feel guilty for smiling. The word depression has such a stigma in today's world. It's a word that signifies something is very wrong with this person. And I'm sorry, but nothing is wrong with a person who lost a child feeling like they don't want to do shit. Acceptance? Don't even get me started. The physician I saw actually indicated, and the psychiatrist I saw even hinted at me needing to work towards acceptance because it was getting close to a year since my daughter died. It even seems that people and professionals act like acceptance is the finish line, like you reach it and suddenly you're just magically healed. But acceptance isn't peace, it's just reality. It's waking up and remembering they're gone again and again and again. Then it's accepting that this is just your life now, and in order to continue living it, you just have to let this be your new normal. Grief is not linear. It's not a staircase. It's a damn roller coaster with broken tracks and no seatbelt. Some days you are okay. Some days you're not. Some days you're both at the same time, and that's normal. That is okay. So if you're grieving and you feel like you're failing because you're not following the stages that so many professionals claim as normal, stop it. You're not failing, you're surviving. You're feeling, you're human. Grief is personal, it's chaotic, it's sacred, and it doesn't need to be categorized to be valid. Remember how I said earlier that I had a freak out episode last week because I was missing my daughter? It's almost 15 years later and those still hit me. Damn, they hit me. You learn to stifle it or it will consume you, but there are days that you just can't. Days where you must let it out in tears and rage because tears are pain leaving your body, and sometimes you just have to get it out. See, I'm still grieving. So do I think that people who are grieving can't have depression or mental illness? No, I never said that. I understand that there are all levels of states in this world, but let's stop giving people who have lost a loved one this 5 stages of grief to follow. It's not how this works. I don't think it helps, and it's everywhere. Do a search here on YouTube for loss of a child and it freaking pops up. If there has to be a form in the doctor's office, change it so it reads something like, have you experienced days of being low that are different than what you experienced before your loss, or something like that. Don't wrap all people into the same category and think a little timeline is going to help. It's the actual time that helps. It's healing within that time that helps. So if this resonated with you, if you nodded your head and said, my gosh, this is me, this is what I'm experiencing, then I hope you can understand what I'm saying. Give yourself time. And if you know someone who is grieving, share this with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, you don't owe anyone a timeline. You don't owe anyone a stage. You owe yourself grace because this is hard. Now let's do this little exercise. Inhale, exhale, repeat. Make sure that you follow me. See you soon.